Good morning. My name is Rick Nystrom. I'm one of the elders here at Minor Christian Church, and I wanted to take a moment and share with you our devotional for day 3. So, welcome to my home, which is also my place here for devotionals. It is also my place for homework, and here in the last couple weeks, this is also my place for work. So, I can't even tell you how many hours in the last 2 weeks I've spent sitting at this chair doing work or homework or anything else, or video chatting with my colleagues as well, just like this. So if you're curious, like my boss was, the pig ears are not for me. This is not my snack station within arm's reach. This is the dog snack station. So I wanted to clear that up in case there were any questions. But we will be continuing on this from the first couple of days. And as Michelle shared the book, The Promised One, Seeing Jesus in Genesis, we'll be spending day 3 going through the story of Noah and the ark. So I'd like to read to you and share with you Genesis 8:1 through Genesis 9:17. So starting in Genesis 8:1. But God remembered Noah and all of the wild animals and the livestock that were with him in the ark, and he sent a wind over the earth, and the waters receded. Now the springs of the deep and the floodgates of the heavens had been closed, and the rain had stopped falling from the sky. The water receded steadily from the earth. At the end of the 150 days, the water had gone down, and on the 17th day of the 17th month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. The waters continued to recede until the 10th month, and on the first day of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains became visible. After 40 days, Noah opened a window he had made in the ark and sent out a raven, and it kept flying back and forth till the water had dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove to see if the water had receded from the surface of the ground. But the dove could find nowhere to perch, because there was water all over the surface of the earth. So it returned to Noah in the ark. He reached out his hand and took the dove, and brought it back to himself in the ark. He waited 7 more days, and again sent out the dove from the ark. When the dove returned to him in the evening, there in its beak was a freshly plucked olive leaf. Then Noah knew that the water had receded from the earth. He waited 7 more days, and sent the dove out again, but this time it did not return to him. By the first day of the first month of Noah's 601st year, the water had dried up from the earth. Noah removed the covering from the ark, and saw that the surface of the ground was dry. By the 27th day of the second month, the earth was completely dry. Then God said to Noah, "Come out of the ark, and your wife, and your sons, and their wives. Bring out every kind of living creature that is with you, the birds, the animals, and all the creatures that move along the ground, so that they can multiply in the earth and be fruitful and increase numbers on it." So Noah came out together with his sons and his wife and his sons' wives, all the animals and all the creatures that move along the ground, and all of the birds. Everything that moves on land came out of the ark, one kind after another. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and taking some of all of the clean animals and clean birds, he sacrificed burnt offerings on it. The Lord smelled the pleasing aroma and said in his heart, "Never again will I curse the ground, because of humans, even though every inclination of the human heart is evil from childhood, and never again will I destroy all living creatures as I have done. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night, will never cease." On to chapter 9. Then God blessed Noah and his sons, saying to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth. The fear and dread of you will fall on all of the beasts of the earth, and on all of the birds in the sky, and on every creature that moves along the ground, and on all of the fish in the sea. They are given into your hands. Everything that lives and moves about will be food for you. Just as I gave you the green plants, I now give you everything. But you must not eat meat that has lifeblood still in it, and for your lifeblood I will surely demand an accounting. I will demand an accounting from every animal, and from each human being too. I will demand an accounting for the life of another human being. Whoever sheds human blood, by humans shall their blood be shed. For in the image of God has God made mankind. As for you, be fruitful and increase in number. Multiply on the earth and increase upon it." Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, "I now establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that was with you, the birds, the livestock, and all of the wild animals, and all of that came out of the ark with you, every living creature on earth. I establish my covenant with you. Never again will all life be destroyed by the waters of a flood. Never again will there be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, "This is the sign of the covenant I am making between me and you and every living creature with you, a covenant for all generations to come. I've set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Whenever I bring clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant between me and you and all living creatures of every kind. Never again will waters become a flood to destroy all life. Whenever the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and all the living creatures of every kind on the earth. So God said to Noah, "This is the sign of the covenant I have established between me and all life on the earth." You notice the first thing that Noah does when he comes out of the ark is to build an altar. It's to give thanks. It's a very powerful message that's the first thing that they do when they come out. And God smells that aroma, and he says, "I will never do this again. I want to build a covenant with you." And if you've never looked up the word covenant, it can be as simple or complex, I suppose, as you want it to be. But in its simplest form, a covenant means an agreement. It means a contract, a compact, a treaty, a pact, an accord, a deal. This is the deal, this is the accord, this is the treaty between God and Moses, that he would never destroy the earth through floods again like that. And I find it interesting as we go through this study and these devotionals, and as Michelle showed you in day one, the book, The Promised One, Seeing Jesus in Genesis, at the bottom of this, as you look at the 4 additional study, you'll see here are some ways that the ark points to Christ. The ark was a divine provision of grace, as Christ is the provision of God's grace. The ark was a refuge from divine judgment, as Christ is a refuge in salvation. And I find the third one here very interesting to just think about. The ark bore the judgment of God in the form of the flood, just as Christ bore the judgment of God on the cross. I think that's a very interesting comparison as well. And God made a covenant with Moses. And just as we approach Easter and we remember the new covenant that was made through the death and resurrection and promised future coming of Christ, we have that new covenant with God as well. So very neat to be able to look at the comparisons there from Genesis to the New Testament and look at the different ways that symbols are used there. So that's it for day 3. I advise you to read through the rest of the material here, and I hope you make it through the rest of these days. Other people will be reading these, and I'm sure that they're very excited to be able to share this information with you. And just know that the staff are doing a fantastic job with what they've been given right now. The elders are in regular communication as well. And through all of this, please let us know if you ever need anything. We're praying for you, and we want to see you again as soon as this is done, so that we don't have to do this for video chat. We can do it in our new fellowship hall. So God bless, and looking forward to see you again next time. Thanks.